Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Candid Conversations with Katie and Danetha. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you tuned in before and if you haven't, welcome. We are here to share insights and information around how to become your best self as an accounting professional. And today we're talking about money mindset, one of my favorite topics to talk about. I learn so much about this every single day, and I'm excited to dive into this conversation with you, Katie. So, Katie, I'd love to kick us off with talking about our own personal journey with money and sharing any money blocks that we've come across. So for you, Katie, I'd love to learn if you've had a money block that you've overcome and a money block that you are currently working through.
So I am really excited to talk about this because when I first heard money mindset and improving your money mindset, I was like, I have got a great money mindset. I was like, this is not an area I need to improve. And I thought I had a great money mindset because I knew how to make money and knew how to save money. So I was like, all right, I'm good. I don't need to address this. And as I started becoming more self-aware and tuning into my internal self and what I'm feeling, I noticed that for the longest time, it wasn't like these feelings just came up, but I became more aware of them, that when I would start doing anything that was above the necessary, like, I guess, interactions I need to take. So, like, let's say, like, I could eat at home or go out to eat. Like, it's more luxurious to go out to eat. I would have some guilt around doing that. Or if I went to Lululemon and wanted to buy myself a new pair of leggings that I love wearing, I would feel guilty. And it wasn't like, someone else was buying these for me. I had worked really hard to earn this money. And so I started being like, okay, is this normal? And I remember one time I was out to eat with my husband and I was like, I just feel so guilty right now. Like, we could have eaten at home and we're having this nice meal out. And he was like, why do you feel guilty? Like, we're celebrating our relationship. And so then I started realizing, okay, maybe I need to reevaluate this. And maybe I don't have the best money mindset. And maybe there's more to money than just earning and saving it. Maybe there's like you actually have a relationship with it. And it wasn't like a particular book I read or a podcast, but a combination of things, and also life events that happened that, caused me to spend money in times I hadn't planned for it, where I had to realize, okay, money is meant for times of emergencies, which aren't so great. It's meant to celebrate. It's meant to enjoy. It's meant to treat ourselves. It's meant to treat others. Like, money is wonderful. And while just having a budget is important, if you're budgeting to make yourself just save as much as possible and you're feeling bad for like treating yourself, then you, like I needed to do, need to work on your money mindset. So that's something I would say, like, previously I became aware of it, and it's been something pretty recently that I became aware of. And so now I'm currently working through, okay, how do I really want to use money to like support myself, support others in my life? And what kind of goals do I want to place with myself around money? Because I've had to release a lot of scarcity thoughts by like me, spending more money or treating myself like that doesn't mean that someone's going to have less, and I shouldn't feel bad about it because I'm supporting other people. Like, money's it's just an energy, and it's how you support people. So I've had a money journey that has been going on a long time, but it wasn't till recently that I became really aware of me having a super scarce mindset around money previously.
Oh my gosh. And that, I feel, will be so enlightening for so many people to hear, that having a scarcity mindset doesn't mean that you're poor. It can be you are earning and you are saving, and on paper everything looks great, but then your approach or feelings around money can be toxic or harmful to yourself. I know for me, my money mindset, or the realization that this was an area to look into, bubbled up for me when I started my business. So becoming an entrepreneur brought up a lot of things that I wanted to look and delve more into, and one of those was money, and it was around asking for payment, like learning
Mm.
how to price my services. Like previous to that, I had always earned well. I'm fairly disciplined with saving as well. I would say I haven't made perfect decisions around money. So there has been some elements of self-forgiveness along this journey of along my money journey. But by and large, I've been similar to you. Like, I think as accountants, we are good at money. That's why we're attracted to this area. And good is even a challenging word to use because there's no good or bad. But for me, I had always accepted whatever salary was offered to me. I'd never negotiated it. And so once I started a business, that's the first thing you have to start doing is pricing your services, advocating for it. And then usually for me, there is some negotiation with some of the projects that I work on. And so when I first started my business, I realized, oh my goodness, all the areas where I feel a lack of self-worth, I have low self-esteem, self-confidence, all of that is bubbling up now as I'm asking for payment and pricing my services. And so for me, that was the initial block that I realized I was holding on to, and I had to learn to release that. And that was through doing exercises that may not seem related to money, but really help boost my self-confidence and feelings of self-worth. And it's still something that I continually try to hone and practice and work on. But by and large, I've done a really good job of figuring out how to continue to fill my cup of confidence so that I feel like I can ask for what I know I'm worth. My current block that I'm working through now is what I would say is the feminine side of money. So believing that what feels good, things that give me joy and that are fun to do, will actually pay me money.
Mm.
Which, as an entrepreneur, you would think, oh my goodness, well, of course, you have your own business. Of course, you know that's possible. But I've realized that that is another block that I've been holding on to, that there are things that I won't do, even though I really enjoy doing them, because I'm like, well, I can't tie this back to the bottom line, or
Mm.
I don't know if this is actually going to pan out financially. And learning how to trust my inner voice that whatever feels good is good for me, on a personal level and also on a financial level. So that's the block that I'm currently working through.
Oh, that's so interesting. I can relate to it on many ways. As you know, I think that we as entrepreneurs go through a lot of pivots, and especially it can be scary if you're maybe letting go of a side that brings in a substantial or a chunk of your current income, and focusing on a new side of your business, or one that you might not have charged for. But it's so interesting to think, like, if we're enjoying something, sometimes it seems like we shouldn't charge for it or charge our worth, or get into, at least for me, a habit of just giving that away for free because you enjoy doing it and talking about it so much.
Yes, exactly. Like, I'm just happy to be able to do it, right? And so why should I even bother charging? I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to be here, or do this or whatever. But yes, that is part of, I feel like that is what money is meant to do. It's an energy so that we all are doing what we love doing. And one of the books that's really helped me work through this is Creating Money by Sanaya Roman, and it's about attracting abundance. And one of the quotes that she shares that I use as a mantra is, the process of getting there is the quality of being there. So if I say to myself, like, success means freedom, or success means filling my day with joyful activities, or success means being able to spend time with my fiance. Well, getting to that place requires me doing those things. So I need to do things that feel freeing, that allow me to spend time with Nick, that allow me to be creative. And if I'm not doing that, then once I get there, it's not going to be that.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Like, I can think about a lot of times where I've spent time doing things that maybe bring in money, and that's what I've convinced myself to do. And then I get to that experience I want to enjoy, like spending time with Chad, my husband, and I'm like, kind of like angry and like frustrated because I haven't been working in a flow and in a creative space that I really enjoy.
Yes, same. And it makes sense, but it's also challenging to put into practice because I feel like it does go against the structure that our overall society has created, but also as accounting professionals, we are taught to think linearly and within a structure, and it has a 1 + 1 has to equal 2 always. And if it's not clear that that's the path, then it's hard to trust ourselves that that is the right path to take.
Yeah, completely. And I think that that was part of my problem in even accepting that I had a scarce money mindset,
Hmm.
because it was like, if if I'm saving and I'm investing some, then what's wrong? Because if the other side of like looking at my money mindset, there's not just an analytical way to view it and to say like, here's where you rank on the money mindset and here's what you need to do to rank higher. I was like, I don't want to do that. That's like, I can't analyze that.
That is so true. This is it. Yeah, it's really challenging to like figure out where you stack up or how to improve. It really is a feeling. How do you know that you are though like moving away from scarcity and more into abundance? Like how do you check in with yourself and realize, oh, okay, Katie, you are moving in that direction?
So I've noticed in experiences that would have previously caused me to feel those feelings of a little bit anxiousness and like
Mm.
feel uncomfortable, they don't do that as much anymore. I'm not trying to say that I'm totally like on the other side and it's not gone away, because it was something I had all for a really long time. But now I notice myself feeling fear, or if I notice those feelings come up, I'm like, wait, you like let that go. Like you worked for this. Like you should not be feeling like this. You're, buying a service, like getting your nails done, like you're supporting someone else. So I can start to recognize it and put new thoughts in my head that allow those feelings to go away.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, I would say that I've noticed a big shift in where I'm spending a lot of my energy, and where before I wouldn't allow myself to go there because it might not be what I thought would be capable of producing revenue. I'm like exploring other areas that really interest me and becoming, again, like tapping into like what really interests me and asking myself like, what if this created revenue? Like what if this worked? And stuff is working. And so it just like, I noticed myself, I guess, welcoming it and honoring it rather than just closing it off and being like, all right, here's the deal, here's what you're gonna do.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And that's such a beautiful practice of trust, like self-trust, knowing that you know what's right for you and not waiting for outside validation.
Yeah. And I think that, sitting here speaking about it, it's I've had other people around me support me. So it goes back to community. And if I was just all here alone with these feelings and didn't have anyone to share them with, to say like, hey, here's like what I really want to do, but I'm scared, I'm experiencing these feelings, and having other people say, like, you'll figure it out, you got this, I've been through this, or, just encouraging me, then I wouldn't be in the same place.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. Community members, friends are so important. I love also watching videos that inspire me. I'm someone that loves luxury. And watching, like most recently, I've been really into the afternoon tea experience. And so it's like the Ritz-Carlton will have these afternoon tea gatherings in London. And so I've just been immersing myself in YouTube videos about the history of afternoon tea and like the outfits you'll wear and the porcelain china that you'll have at these tea parties and like things like that. put me in a state. I just feel happy watching those. And I'm reminded that, oh my gosh, there is a world of luxury, abundance that exists here and now. And I can tap into that at any time. And so community and reminding myself of those, or sharing or finding images and videos that expose
Yeah.
me to those experiences, if I'm not able to do it on my own, is like experience those experiences in real life person, then that really helps me shift my mindset.
That's amazing. Do you want to share some of those? You mentioned at the beginning of our conversation the like prompts or exercises that you did to help shift your money mindset.
Oh, sure. Yes. This is something that I go back to often. So I feel like money mindset and financial wellness is a lot like physical wellness, in terms of you can't work out, think that you can put in all of your gym sessions and, or like work out a ton and then never have to work out again. It's a constant maintenance. And so something that has really helped me shift my mindset is first understanding my money story. And so for me, my money story, and I think this is applicable to everyone, it's a combination of our own personal experiences. It's also what we experienced or observed our parents or whoever raised us doing. And it's also something that's, and this may sound woo woo, but it's also something that's passed down through our genes as well. So similar to physical ailments or diseases that are passed down through our DNA, the same is true for the way we view life and the way we view money. And so really understanding my money story from those three perspectives, and that latter perspective is something that I'm diving into more, but really starting with my own personal relationship with money and understanding why I behave a certain way, whether that's for you, like feeling guilty, or for me, it was a lot of shame, which was surrounded around not feeling worthy of being compensated for my work. Really understanding where that comes from has helped shift my mindset from scarcity to more of an abundant mindset. The second thing that I continue to practice is paying really close attention to my money choices. So sometimes I feel like in in the financial industry, we're told that certain choices are bad. Like if you are on a budget, you shouldn't go out and buy clothes, for instance, or you shouldn't treat yourself to eating out because you're on a budget. And while on paper that makes sense, sometimes in my own experience and in working with people, sometimes giving ourselves that flexibility to really enjoy life is the spark that we need to create the abundant lifestyle that we want. A personal example, when I first started my business, like most business owners, the beginning was really tight, like trying to figure out where my clients are, how I'm going to market to them, and then actually market to them, then actually sell to them, and then actually receive payment. Like there's a process. And so there were times when money wasn't flowing in like it used to. And I remember thinking, okay, well, I really need to cut back on eating out. I really need to cut back on whatever. And while I did do that, somewhat, I also gave myself the flexibility to still hang out with girlfriends and go out for happy hour or to eat out with them. And there was one time where in my mind, I was like, okay, I have a happy hour date with a girlfriend, but I really need to watch my money. Like I shouldn't go out. And the next thought was, no, Danetha, go have fun. You've been working really, really hard on your business. Go enjoy time with your friends. And I went out, grabbed happy hour with her. We got some extra snacks. And I just forgot, I let myself be in the moment and just enjoy time with her. And once we were done, I went back home and I received an email from this new client that I had never heard of, no idea where she had come from. Not only did she email me and say that she wanted to work with me, she went ahead and purchased a product from me.
Wow.
Without having a conversation with me. I had no idea who this person was. And that's just one example of so many experiences like that, when I give myself permission to be free, have fun, be in community, that I'm rewarded with something like monetarily. So that is something that I've learned to practice, is understanding my money choices. If I'm intentional about spending money that shows me self-love, that allows me to be in community, I know that I'm going to be rewarded financially for that.
Oh, I love that story. It makes me think about a time I was working with one of my clients, and we were getting her paid ads running, and I was like, you need to, I was helping her develop some content that we were going to post in her ads, and we needed some, she was going to create a video. And she was talking about how she like wasn't comfortable on camera and all this stuff. And she came back the next week and said, I have all these videos done. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you suddenly got comfortable. I was like, and we started having a conversation. And what she did that weekend is she was like, I went and got a massage, I got a facial, I got my nails done, I got my hair done. She's like, I just felt great, ready to take on the world. And her ad did amazing. And it's not to say that like your appearance is everything, but she like did stuff that made her feel good. And so then she was ready to perform. And that's just like, it aligns with, gotta treat yourself. You gotta make yourself feel good. And money, it's not like bad and should not be shamed. And sometimes like, you put that energy out into the world, you put the money out, it comes back every time.
It really does. Oh my gosh, I love that story for so many reasons. One of them is that I feel like the money choices that are shamed are very feminine in nature. So what she did was she went and got a massage, she got her hair done, she got her nails done, she made herself feel beautiful from the inside out. And oftentimes those are the first things that we're told to cut out of our budget.
Yes.
And yes, it's important to be mindful in terms of, there is such a thing as splurging and overindulging, as
Yes.
you say. However, cutting it out completely reduces someone's self-confidence and feeling beautiful. And the way you show up is a reflection of how you feel on the inside. So I love that she invested in herself in that way, and that turned into her wanting to show up for herself in business.
Yes, exactly. I love conversations like this too, because like you said, a lot of times we cut that stuff off. And I even feel like discussions around money, it's, the Dave Ramsey, which I'm not saying that's bad. That's great whenever you need to be that way. But I think closing yourself off to money and making yourself feel good, it closes you off to so many opportunities. And I've seen it with myself, I've seen it with others. And so an abundant mindset around money, around yourself, around business, it all plays together.
It really does. And it also plays into our participants in the economy, because if we all stop spending, if we all stop eating out, that means that that restaurant is no longer going to be able to afford paying their staff, their employees, and we're all a part of this ecosystem. And so if it's hard to get to that place where you feel like you're worthy of spending money on yourself, it's helpful sometimes to remind us that we are in community when it comes to the economy. And so by spending, you are supporting someone else's lifestyle, and it's going to come back to you as well.
I love that. So true.
And then, okay, so creating or knowing your money story, and then understanding your money choices, being intentional about it. And then the third step, with shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance, is creating a vision for the life that you want to lead. This is something that has helped me so much. I call it my manifesto, where I write about myself in third person, and I talk about what this woman's qualities are in terms of the traits that she possesses. Like, she's super confident, she's well dressed, she's a fashion icon, and then also the life that I want to experience, where I want to be traveling to, the experiences I want to have, who I want to be having conversations with. And all of that helps remind me that money is there to support me in living my best life, however I decide I want it to be. And so that can be something that's really helpful to someone else too. It could be a vision board, it could be a manifesto, whatever resonates. That's how I've been able to shift my mindset from scarcity to abundance.
So, how often do you revisit your money mindset? You mentioned that's something you need to continuously do. How often do you do that?
Well, the new year is always a beautiful time for me to revisit all of that with a mindset of, okay, what are some things that need to be shifted, changed? Is there anything that no longer resonates with me? What do I want to carry into this next year? And then every new moon, I do a smaller version of that. So it's not a huge overhaul, but and the new moon happens once a month. That's the time when I take a step back and reflect on the month prior, and then think about the things that I want to carry into the month leading or going forward. So that's when I sit down and really think about my money mindset.
That's so helpful. I'm sure there's so many people listening because it can be overwhelming to think about addressing a new area of your life, a new thought process, and knowing not only where to start, but how often to revisit it. I think is going to be so helpful for all those listening.
When do you revisit your money mindset?
So I try to do those check-ins all the time of like gut feelings, and since it's newer to me, so I try to constantly be checking in every day. Honestly, just since it's newer, I have to remind myself. But as terms of looking at how much money I want to create, what type of life I want to create, I try to do that at least once a month at the end of the month to see where I'm at, maybe where I fell short, or what's really working, what's gone well, and try to adjust and be proactive rather than just be reactive. Like whenever things have gone south, and you're like, okay, I'm in a hole now. I need to dig myself out. So trying to plan for the future based upon the past, and then also while I'm planning for the future, is really challenging myself to see not just, okay, where do I want to be in the next few months, but having that bigger vision, like you said, is something that's so motivating to me, and not feeling guilty about it. So that's
Mm.
been the biggest struggle for me. It's like, oh my gosh, I want all of this. I know that over time I can work to achieve it, but not feeling guilty about it is something that I've really just been working to overcome.
How do you work through guilt?
So for me, it's trying to have a different story.
Hmm.
So I can go down a rabbit hole of like, oh my gosh, I've been so lucky to grow up with the parents I had, the siblings, the lifestyle. I was so blessed, and I'm still so grateful for it. And so I can start to turn that into, I don't deserve all these good things in the future. I deserve a very ordinary life. But whenever I start feeling those feelings, it's like, no, then you can create experiences for not just yourself, but others. You can have a lot wider impact on others, whether that is directly through giving money, through maybe like writing a book, through sharing experiences. You can create a lot greater impact. So it's shifting the story of like, okay, you've been blessed so much in life, you don't deserve this, to like, what could you create with this, is how I work through those feelings of guilt. And just having conversations like this, like the more you talk to people, I think the more you start to understand about yourself and those feelings.
Oh my gosh, I love that prompt because it's helpful to have a question to ask ourselves, like, what can I create with this? So that's like a prompt for us to shift out of that mindset. And yes, conversations around money are so important. I mean, money is so taboo in our society. And one of the things that I hope that I encourage through Money and Mimosas is the aspect of talking about money is so healing. Like, it's not necessarily it's great to work with a professional, of course. What's also really helpful is just talking to girlfriends about finances, whether that's, I mean, when I started Money and Mimosas, that was inspired by conversations over mimosa brunches where we would share, like, one of our girlfriends was getting married, and we were like, she wanted to know if it made sense to merge bank accounts. Another was trying to figure out how to pay off student loans. And so us just sharing experiences, not necessarily coming from a place of being an expert or like, this is what you should do step by step by step, but just sharing, oh yeah, I've been through that. This is what I did. I don't know if that'll work for you, but it might be something you want to explore. That is so, it really helps everyone feel less alone and gives us, and a lot of us have wisdom to share. So it gives us information that can be helpful too.
Yeah, totally. We all have different experiences, thoughts, views, takes on different situations. So, in complete agreement. The more we can share and learn from one another, the better.
Yes, yes, yes. So Katie and I did some research before this conversation. We have some resources that we'll share in the link below, in the box below. One of them is Natalie Bacon, who has some money mindset questions that you can ask yourself to get a sense of where you're at within your money mindset. Like we talked about earlier, it's not necessarily a linear path. Like you can't check off boxes, and it's not a game where you like get a lot of points and then you move up the ladder. It's really an ongoing process, but her questions will really help you start to get a sense of where you're at. And then I'll also share this book down the bottom, Creating Money. And then also Marianne Williamson has a fantastic book that I really love called The Law of Divine Compensation, where it's a look at how we spend money as a reflection of our intentions and the world that we want to create. So if we use money and our intention is to create joy, creativity, collaboration through our spending, then that's the world that we're going to create. So she talks a lot about that in this book. And I think in closing, did you have any last words or insights you want to share, Katie?
I think I covered everything on my side.
Okay, cool. So, in closing, we'd love to leave you all with one last question. First of all, thank you so much for listening in to our conversation. And the question we want to ask you is, what is one money block that you are currently working through? You can leave that in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for tuning into Candid Conversations with Katie and Danetha, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.